Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I wanted to show some of my tour programs. I'm a collector and I've been to a lot of concerts and shows, and I always like to buy the program. Um, they're just great to look at. Now, this was the first tour I ever went to, Cher's farewell tour. I know how funny that is now. Back in 2005, but who knew 20 years later she'd still be going. Um, Now, this is like very exciting to me because it was the first big concert I went to. I bought the VIP pass. I got a bag full of merchandise and stuff, and that included the program, but I would have bought one anyway. I took my Cher doll with me, the one that Jack has in Will and Grace, and she was quite popular in the VIP section and everywhere else. This has a little bit of water damage, unfortunately, from when my apartment was flooded a couple of years ago, but I haven't bought another one because this is the one I bought and carried around and, looked through on the train home, which is usually the only time I get to actually look at them. And I just wanted to go through it. So, beautiful cover, of course, with a little bit of hologram. We have an appreciation, some text. It's not like most programs where it's just photos from photo shoots and stuff like that. It actually has pictures later on from the actual production, which is amazing. I didn't know how amazing that was back when I got this. Now, this is a Cher dollar that fell out of the sky during the show. I kept one. And as you can see, water damage. But yeah. Now these photos were used in the Greatest Hits album booklet, I think. Well, that's where they ended up. This is from Living Proof. Probably recognise the album cover. And I don't know where these are from. Just, 2000s Cher. That looks like the work from one of her Greatest Hits albums where they did a lot of Photoshoppy sort of stuff. And just more stuff. I never really liked that short straw hair look that she did. And yes, in a field of straw with the straw hair is kind of funny. I love that one. Looks very Song for the Lonely. And this feels like it's from It's a Man's World, but it's probably much more recent. I didn't realise how many photos there actually are that are, portrait shots. And here we have some Bob Mackie design sketches for the actual costumes. And here we have the section that is actually from the show. Now, unfortunately, it's actually come off I really need to buy a new one, but it just feels a bit sacrilegious. The actual section with photos from the tour. So you can look at this and remember. Oh, damn it, I forgot that folded out. Okay, I'll have to move that across so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so you have things like the opening, Believe, which is the ending. Just, when you saw the show, you can remember all these moments. Now, when I first went to the show, I just remember walking in and being shocked by how small the stage looked. The whole thing looked so small. There's a big curtain around the whole front of the stage, which drops, at a certain point the music starts. I still haven't found what I'm looking for, and the music drops and you see Cher in the chandelier and it lowers down. And it's pretty amazing. Okay, so more shots. That's when she's doing her Cher du Soleil introduction. And Take Me Home. The dancers, of course, the band. This show is in production for a long time. I saw it on pay-per-view, and I bought the DVD before actually seeing the live show. So I was very, very familiar with it, and I was shocked that she actually changed a couple of the costumes, and she eliminated Song for the Lonely and replaced it with another song I've forgotten. This was 20 years ago, and I was like waiting for that song. It was my favourite song. I'm like, no. It's on the DVD though. I didn't realize how few photos there were from it, but I really focused on the shots from the show because I'd just seen it and it just, allowed me to relive the show. So we just have more shots from like the Greatest Hits album cover, the Believe album cover, 90s, 80s. That's late. I think that's like 1991. And then we have 70s Cher, 60s Cher, because that's how long this girl has been rocking. Cher at the movies. So it's a bit of a retrospective of her whole career, very briefly. And I think I skipped a page there. No, just feels thick. Album covers, credits, and the back, which is very different. Now, the only trauma I had with this tour was I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and when the tickets came out, there wasn't a lot of time. And I was living with a friend, and I'd sort of promised her that, I'd always put the bills ahead of anything. The only exception was if Madonna toured, all bets were off. And then Cher toured, and I'm like, damn, I should have included Cher. And she made me pay the electricity bill on time, which meant I didn't quite have enough money to buy tickets for the show. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try anyway, see if my credit card will go over, because it often did, but it didn't. The seats I got, front row, centre, right in front of her the stage that comes out in the centre, perfect seat. Credit card wouldn't go through. That was the first show. I ended up getting tickets for the fourth show, and I was fourth row centre, the exact same seat, but 4 rows back. So I wasn't close enough to touch her. I couldn't, hand her my Cher doll to like touch or anything like that, which I wish I could have done. She might have posed with it for a second, who knows. She took flowers and stuff like that, and gave people low fives and stuff like that. So I always regretted that. I should have just said, we can pay the electricity bill a week late. I'm going to keep my cash, so I've got enough on the credit card to cover the ticket, and would have been front row centre, would have touched Cher, would have touched God. So I always regret that. But I did have a slightly better view of the show for being 4 rows back for the overall production, I think. And that was only like 2 meters difference. And she did see me and looked at me for a second because she saw the Cher doll, and I think she smirked at me for a second like, you idiot. I just was like singing with my Cher doll, and I just felt this weird moment because she was on the other end of the stage, and I just turned for a second. I swear to God, diagonally, she was looking right at me, and she sort of smirked and then turned back to the audience. Like, she saw me and was like, oh my God, that guy's a Cher doll. I'm sure of it, but either way. It was a great show. It was my first show. It was amazing. I wish I'd seen her more than once, but, was I a student then? Either way, I was still poor. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the Cher farewell tour if you saw it live, and the program. I just want to share that with people who maybe didn't go, have seen this and thought, I wonder what the program's like. I wouldn't mind having that. Well, at least now you've seen inside of it.